Thanksgiving, pilgrims. Welcome to Week 13 LEGTV for the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen Fantasy Football. I am your very tired commish, John David Bray, getting ready for the holidays. Hopefully you are too. Thank you for tuning in this week for a very important week. As we know, the playoffs are just a couple weeks. That's right. This is week 13 out of 14, and then it is playoffs. And boy, oh boy, do we have some important games this week. We'll have a special guest on for this Thanksgiving episode to run down the matchups. But first, let's look at the scores from last week. And boy, did I need this win. 187 to 142 over Barris, thanks to Amon-Ra St. Brown, 32 points, and Wan'Dale Robinson, 35. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable. Mahomes had a good game for Barris against a Colts soft defense, but it wasn't enough as both teams are now at 7-5. Let's go over to the poor Nick. Should have won this game. 137-109. Plow gets the win, moving to 6-6 and dropping Nick to 6-6. I mean, look at that output. Jackson was 6, Abuka was 6. Even though Emmanuel Wilson had a good game, not enough thanks to Stafford and Devontae Adams stack, and Ashton Genty had a good game with 24. Big win. Holy cow, one of the closest games here. 209 to 207, one of the highest scoring games of all time in this league, and Mick loses, scoring 207 points despite 64 points from Jahmyr Gibbs. Unbelievable. But Jackson Smith and Jigba with 42, and it was just too much for Mick. And Purdy Little Liars goes down. Joe is still alive, moves to 5-7 in 10th place. Had a pretty decent game from Hunter Henry showing back up, but Baker Mayfield might not go this week. Very questionable there for Joe if Teddy Two Gloves is going to get the start. And then let's look at Modelo Virus. He's officially done already. Could not play spoiler. Just barely lost, taking down top seed Dan Nickel, 162 to 160. Jalen Hurts had a heck of a game. Cook continues to cook, and Butker had 16 points. Not good when you have that up there. Despite A.J. Brown, 27 and 26 from McCaffrey. When John Dahlgren holds Anu off 159 to 154, John is now in second place. DJ Moore with a great game for him, and Quishon Judkins, and of course Trey McBride's been solid. Drake May only getting 19. Derrick Henry did show up, and Puka Nacua with a disappointing 16 points there for Mr. Dahlgren. Boy, speaking of, we got a pretty big game this week. I know of some bet that's on the line, and it all comes down to the standings here. So let's check out the standings real quick through 12 weeks. There, as I said, the only team to officially clinch a playoff, Dan Nickel at 9-3, atop the league. Second place, John Dahlgren moved all the way up at 7-5. Look at all those teams at 7-5. Dak Street, Pukamon, and Barris. They're working for Mahomes. And in 6, Anurag is holding on to that spot because the following teams are all in contention, working for Mahomes. Anurag, Nick Shook, Dave Plow, Ablash Reddy, and Joe Murdoch all still have a chance to grab that 6th seed in the playoffs. And the records are important, even more important for myself and another person with $100 on the line because Abby's pretty much out. But let's go to this week's Owner Spotlight. What is up, Mr. Dahlgren? How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Where in the world are you right now?
Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh yeah, that's right. Going to North Kakalaki. Well, let's just get right into it because we got Thanksgivings to get ready for.
You getting tired?
How does it feel? Yeah, I am getting tired, and I actually have to go clean. Christine's like, "Hurry up with your stupid video. Help me clean."
Move on with this shit.
Yes. How does it feel, Mr. Dahlgren, to surge all the way into second place, vying for a first round bye?
Honestly, I feel entirely insecure. I feel like it's more likely that I end up missing the playoffs entirely than getting a first round bye. We've
seen this movie before, haven't we?
Oh, we have.
Many, Many times, unfortunately. I can't recall a year where there wasn't a chance that you were either going to be in the playoffs or you were in the playoffs and then got knocked out. Many good teams. I think the highest finish for you is third. I believe you finished third one year.
Maybe the first or second year I joined,
Yes,
which
it
was
was very
travesty.
very early on. Yes, absolutely. So what do you credit this meteoric rise to second place for the clock gobblers?
Uh, I don't think my team's very good. Even though even though I have a lot of points, every week I look at my
Oh,
roster, I'm like,
just number one in points. That's all.
honestly, I'm like, what a bunch of bums. I think honestly, the only thing that's contributed is I think three of the top 10 linebackers that have really contributed, and I spend a lot of time on my defense because I have like no wide receivers. They're just random number two guys that, wouldn't even be. I mean, they could be they could be buried in the depth chart on other teams. So
We will.
Josh Allen's helped a little bit. I
Yes.
think Trey McBride was the best pick I made this draft,
Yes.
but I still think the team's kind of booty.
I don't know, man. I mean, you're putting up 200 points multiple times. It's very impressive. So, what do you say we get into the this week's matchups and highlight the game of the week? Just happens to be you and me, both at 7-5, vying and jockeying for playoff position for Week 13. And I can't think of a more apropos, poetic timing to have this game because also on the line is our $100 side bet, which Bobby's pretty much lost. So either way, he's going to owe money. But the winner of this game will not lose $100. The worst that can happen
Correct.
is if you and I tie, then Abby gives us $50 each for best record.
Yeah. This is essentially winner take all because also whoever wins this is going to be in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Huge implications. All right, so I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to run down the rosters, and then afterwards, I want you to tell me why you think I'll win, and I'll tell you why I think you'll win. How's that?
Oh gosh. All right. I like it. I like it.
Okay, so I am starting Dak Prescott this week. It's going to be gobble gobble time on Thursday against the Chiefs. I think that's a better play than Purdy. Purdy looked off. He looked pretty out of sync with the receivers. I still think his toe injury is still bugging him. Now, Dahlgren, we talked about receivers earlier. I do think I have the advantage at the wide receivers with Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is also playing tomorrow on Thanksgiving. Hopefully he will eat it up like he did last week. Chris Olave, which probably was the best part of that trade I made, getting rid of Drake London to Mick, getting Olave. And in the running back, this is where you, sir, can definitely take advantage because I'm going with Kyron Williams, who's been my starter. However, Blake has eaten into a lot of the carries, and for whatever reason, Sean McVay refuses to run the ball. You could be on the half-inch yard line. He's like, nope, throw it, Devontae, all day. It is driving me insane. He's still the lead back, but the goal line thing is absolutely frustrating, and they're still letting Blake Corum do stuff. RJ Harvey, right now, at this moment, is getting the start and did not have a great game before the bye, and he's the number one back now that J.K. Dobbins is out. He's too explosive. Sunday night game against Washington. I like that matchup personally. That's why I'm putting him in there, unless some things happen with Omarion Hampton and Trey Benson, who are on the IR and are open to practice. Tight end, you definitely have the advantage. Juwan Johnson, I'm starting in New Orleans, and Wan'Dale Robinson, who went off. He was the second wide receiver overall last week, only behind Jackson Smith and Jigba, who put up like 42 points. He is getting most likely Jackson Dart, and that is my flex play, which I really, really like. Now let's go to your roster. Josh Allen. Please tell me right now, what is your feeling of being a Josh Allen fantasy football owner?
I mean, I think he's obviously a top three fantasy football QB.
Yep.
He's unfortunate because if you play a tough matchup, he doesn't usually show up. So he does beat up on the cupcakes. He beats up on the mid-tier teams. Really tough teams will get the best of him. So he might have a bad game. I mean, I was watching last week again. He was this close to having what would be a game that was probably 3 times the points. What would be a touchdown turns into an interception, all that stuff. But I won't complain because he's got me here.
Well, he is going up against the Pittsburgh defense that is allowing the 9th most points to the quarterback position. So I think that's fringe cupcake area. I like that start. You clearly
and they're
have the
starting
better
Mason
quarterback.
Rudolph at QB, so who knows if their offense can hold the ball.
That's true. That's very, very true. So I definitely give you the advantage there. You're right. The wide receivers, a little iffy with Keenan Allen and Christian Watson. However, Jalen Reed did not come off IR. He's not gonna play. But the Green Bay Packers wide receiver room is all beat up. It's a turnstile. Whoever's, the hot hands that week, that's the one that gets all the balls. And Christian Watson has been on that side more than a few times, but it hasn't been consistent. But he is going up against Detroit. It's on Thanksgiving. It's indoors. I really look forward to the Thursday games on Thanksgiving because that's really going to set the tone for how the games are going to go for Sunday and Monday. And unfortunately, I think this is going to come down to Monday night. I love the running back, Bijan Robinson, obviously, with Quinshad Judkins. Judkins is a little beat up, a little bit, but he's playing, and he will go up against the 49ers. The 49ers defense is not that great. Their top player at almost every single position on defense is out for the year. Fred Warner, Bosa. I mean, their defensive backfield is a mess. However, they've got some good guys to fill there, but I think he's going to have a better game than like the projections are having. He's at 11 right now. I think he's probably going to get 15 to 20, to be honest, with a touchdown in there. Bijan Robinson, Jets, they suck. Great play. Yes, Trey McBride, the best tight end in all fantasy football. It's not even close. He is on a different tier. It is tier 1 Trey McBride, and tier 2 is like 3 or 4 other guys. But he is alone. He is by far the best tight end. He's going against Tampa Bay, who also, they don't do so well against the tight end position. And then the flex going with Jacoby Myers there. I like Wandell versus Jacoby, but I'm hoping Jackson Dart doesn't try to run too much. Hopefully his concussion kind of put it into that. So, Mr. Dahlgren, tell me why I will win, and I will tell you why you will win, and give me your honest opinion on who you think is going to win. You go first.
All right, so my honest opinion is that I do think your team's going to win, and I think there's a range of reasons. Dak Prescott I think he'll match whatever Josh Allen does. He's been on fire recently. He's been a really top-tier quarterback.
I know. I remember. I seem to recall a bewildered John Dahlgren at the draft when I made that pick. My, how the tables have turned.
I don't remember that whatsoever. And then obviously the wide receivers are just super strong for you. Your running backs are a little bit weaker, but they're playing a weaker defense, which can kind of counteract that.
That's true.
Juwan Johnson's been very steady, and if you get 10 points out of your tight end position, fine, so be it. And I hate that you picked up Dotson after I dropped him because I had to move a linebacker.
I dropped him originally.
I feel like he's going to come back to bite me.
He was originally my linebacker.
But here's the thing that I hate about all this is I'm going to be rooting against you, and I feel like that's happened this whole season where the last game is my opponent's players, and that just sucks. You want to be rooting for your own players to do well, not for people to not get the ball, and every time it like goes to them or they get tackled, you're like, damn it. And it's going to be Monday that I just watch you eclipse me probably around halftime. So that's why I feel like I'm going to get beat. But I have been in the matchup of the week for the last 3 weeks in a row, and I've won the other 2.
That's true.
And came from behind with lower projections, I think, both times. So we'll see. I pick you.
Your team. Okay. That was good. You hit it on the head. Your team is under projected almost every week, and my team is way way over projected this week. I do not see 177 points because Yahoo has it 177 to 153. I think that's ludicrous. Somebody there is clearly as zooted as I am right now. Now, I'm going to go
25 for Amon-Ra. He's only hit that number 3 times this season.
That's true.
Against Green Bay defense.
Exactly. I mean, Amon-Ra's he's a floor guy. I mean, he's going to get you a good solid floor. He's got a ceiling, but it's not always consistent, but he's a top 5 wide receiver. So
for sure.
I would be very happy if he got over 20 to 25 points. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Now,
you're looking at your roster. I think you're going to win. I truly think you're going to win, and here's why. Josh Allen's going to put up 50 points this week. I guarantee it. Josh Allen is going to have an amazing game against Pittsburgh. You're going to get
he had
production.
6 tutties against Tampa Bay and still didn't get the 5 in front of the points because he just intercepted and fumbled all the crap.
I think he's going to have a huge game, with the exception of last year, of course. I've been in this position as well, needing a win for a playoff position, and it just seems to always happen. Usually it's Lamar Jackson that's the reason. Like, he'll put up 50 points and totally screw. That's happened multiple times. I think I'm not too sure about the wide receivers, but I think the running backs are going to go off. I think Bijan's going to have 20 to 30 against the Jets. They're just going to run all over him. Quinshon Judkins, like I said, the Niners defense isn't that great. Trey McBride against Tampa Bay. Are you kidding me? Now, Jacoby Brissett is quarterback, and that has been the greatest thing that's ever happened to Trey McBride because he's now getting red zone targets like crazy. So all those catches and all those yardage that he would always get, now they're adding touchdowns. And Jacoby he looks great, and I'm so happy for him. And Jacoby Myers against Tennessee, I think actually that's going to be a high-scoring game. I really do. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game because Jacksonville needs to win, and Tennessee is just fighting for pride at this point. And I think they're gonna chuck the ball a lot there, and I think they're gonna have to play catch up or keep ahead of the Titans. So, Dahlgren, I am picking you to win in a low-scoring game where I'm watching Monday night just begging for one reception from Wan'Dale Robinson for like 9 yards, and it will not come. I think you win this game like 167 to 166.4. It's going to be absolute heartbreak, and I'm going to hate it. I'm going to hate it. Hope you lose next week because I'm probably going to lose next week to Mick, who's got a good team, even though he's out of the playoffs.
I can't wait till we get to his roster.
Yes, exactly. Well, okay. Well, let's go to the next game. The number 1 overall team taking on Ablash Reddy's Pretty Little Liars, who's kind of out of it. He has a shot mathematically, but Dan has been on fire. If he wins this week, he guarantees a first-round bye, either first or second seed. Second seed's the worst he can do. Dan's roster right now: Jalen Hurts against Chicago on Friday, the Black Friday game at like 3:00, which is weird. CeeDee Lamb on Thursday against the Chiefs. I like that play, even though he's got a case of the dropsies. Stephon Diggs and James Cook are also playing. Stephon Diggs Monday night, James Cook against Steelers. We talked about for the Browns, with Chase Brown going against the Ravens Thursday night. And I like the tight end play. Tyler Warren against Houston. They're going to rely on Tyler a lot more than they did against Kansas City. A lot of cracks are starting to show in that Colts offense, and they need to go back to Warren. And Cortland Sutton's kind of a toss for me in the flex, but is a good flex play to have against Washington, even though he's not always the number 1 guy. Sometimes Troy Franklin's the number 1 guy. And over to Abby's team, Trevor Lawrence getting the start, as we talked about. Jacksonville, Tennessee. I think the defense is going to sit this one out. Justin Jefferson, though. J.J. McCarthy, not looking great. Zay Flowers, and he's getting the start for Thursday night against the Bengals. Again, Zay is the number 1 wide receiver, but sometimes they don't need to throw the ball that much. Sometimes they run it, and then you've got a slew of other receivers that can catch there in Baltimore. I do like his running backs. Breece Hall going against Atlanta, and obviously Jonathan Taylor, the second best running back in all of football. And after last week, I feel like they're going to feed him about 30 to 40 times against the Houston Texans, even though they're a good defense. Travis Kelce, tight end, going against the Chiefs Thursday. That's a toss, but however, Kansas City, Colts could not kill the dynasty, and now Kansas City has a breath of life, and that is dangerous for the rest of the AFC. And in the flex, I do not like this play, Michael Pittman against the Texans, because there's a lot of mouths to feed. So, John Dahlgren, who wins this week and why? Is Dan going to clinch a bye, or is Ablash going to delay the inevitable?
I mean, I think this is going to be a super close game. I really do. I think Abby actually takes this down. I do. I don't know what the projection. Yeah, he's projected a little bit less, but I think Pittman's going to be more of the focal point against Houston. I think they're going to shut down Warren. They're going to key in because that defense is so scary, and they're going to really key in on the best weapon outside the running back, and it's going to be Tyler Warren. I think Justin Jefferson he's going to show up against Seattle. I really do. Personally, I think CeeDee Lamb is going to lay a big fat dud against Kansas City. So that's where I think it's going to really hurt Nichols. So I
love it. That's a good pick. There we go, throwing an upset special already. I'm choosing Dan to win this week, and the only reason is Dan looks like he's back into his rare old form. This is a 3-time champion of the league, one of the most successful early on before he retired and then came back to the league. I think Sam Darnold's going to have a good game. I really think that's going to be not Sam Darnold, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is going to have a good game.
Same guy.
It's whatever. The quarterback, whatever. I'm taking Dan this week. Okay, let's hit up the rest of these pretty quick because my Zoom trial, it's free, so I don't have it for a super long time, and I'm cheapskate. Now, a sneaky good team, also a former 3-time champion, Austin Stoll, in 3rd place, taking on Dave Plow's 6-6 team, who still has a chance in defiance of God's will. He is the most scored on team in the league. I don't know how he has 6 points. I'm one of those wins for him, and I hated it because he scored like 200 points or something stupid. But Austin's got a pretty solid squad. Like I said, Sam Darnold at quarterback going against the Vikings. I think that's going to be a good play. DK Metcalf, that's kind of a toss for me, but he has Jackson Smith and Jigba, the best overall wide receiver. He's the highest points non-quarterback, I believe. And the running back, too, is a little bit iffy with Travion Henderson now with a healthy Ramondre Stevenson. Still, Travion has proved himself worthy to get the ball more. And Javonte Williams on the Dallas Cowboys. I like that play on Thursday. A lot of Thursday games, man. A lot of big players going tomorrow and Friday. And at tight end, Theo Johnson. That might be an okay play. I feel like Jameson Winston would be better for Theo than Dart, because if he doesn't hit those first couple reads and like Theo's the 3rd check down, he's gonna dart. No pun intended. See what I did there?
Yeah, right.
And freaking superstar Michael Wilson, the wide receiver for the Cardinals, who totally.
But Marvin Harrison Jr. comes back, right? So who knows?
Dude, I don't think it's gonna matter. Even if Marvin's there, Marvin has not been great this year.
No.
He's been hurt. But Jacoby Brissett loves throwing to Michael Wilson. Great flex play for Austin. Now, Plow, his bread and butter all year has been that Devontae Adams, Matt Stafford stack. Again, I would never thought that would be one of the top QB wide receiver stacks, but it is. And they're going against Carolina. Carolina actually has a pretty decent pass defense. I mean, they did pick off Purdy 3 times. They're really good at anticipating the route. I feel like not only was Purdy throwing a little bit late, but man, they jumped. They jumped all over those receivers. Rome Odunze and Cooper Kupp. I don't like the Cooper Kupp play. Cooper Kupp used to be on
There's
my
no
team.
way he keeps Cooper Kupp in there. He's going to put in Debo and or Marvin Harrison Jr. on his
Oh,
bench.
yeah, you're right. You're right. Look at that. Astute. You're paying attention to the bench there. Yeah, you're right. Cooper's going to come out for Debo. That's because they were on bye last week. Ashton Genty actually had a good game last week. I don't think that's going to happen against the Chargers. I don't. I think he's going to go back to like his 7 to 10 point range. DeAndre Swift, also kind of a toss with Kyle Monangai, kind of eating out there. And
Yeah,
Isaiah,
he got more carries.
he did get more carries, and he looks like the better running back. And Plow is going with Isaiah Likely at tight end. Again, he did this last week, and I'm looking at his roster, and he doesn't have any tight ends. It's like, what are you doing? He's just completely given up on the tight end position, and then Devontae Adams in flex. All right, Dahlgren, who are you taking this week?
I mean, we're going to go with Austin, but I think this is going to be low scoring. I think there's tough matchups on both sides that are going to draw this down. I bet this is Austin wins 151 to 139.
Ooh, yeah. That sounds about right. I think Austin's going to win this one too, but Plow is also a team that when the games he wins, he way over projects. And really it relies on that Devontae Adams, Matt Stafford. Like it's great to have two players get you 65 points almost every week. It's not a bad problem to have. Speaking of problems, let's go to Mr. Mick Barton's roster.
I also think, by the way, I think he ends up starting Marvin Harrison Jr. over Adunze.
You think so?
I would.
I wouldn't. I would not start Marvin. I wouldn't. I still think Austin. No matter what Plow does, I think Austin's going to win. We got Mick Barton, who is officially out of the playoffs. He has punched his ticket to the Hoffa Bowl contention at 4-8 in 11th place, taking on Adam Barris, who is starting to slide. He's been at the top of the league all year, but now he's in 5th place, and he's projected to get barely like a 5-point win over Mick's team. Mick's got a good squad, and he's starting Daniel Jones. And what do you think? Do you think Daniel Jones bounces back, or do you think they're just going to run the ball and he's just going to be a game manager?
I think Daniel Jones is going to do fine. This is just a tough stretch of teams for the Colts. Yeah. So I think he's going to get a solid, 18 to 20 points.
Yeah. Like maybe like a 250-yard game with maybe two touchdowns, maybe a turnover against Houston. I could definitely see that. George Pickens, as you mentioned, CeeDee Lamb, you think he's going to throw a big goose egg. I think George Pickens is going to be the big stud. He's going to be eating that big turkey leg after they beat the Chiefs. You've heard it here. I think Dallas is going to beat the Chiefs. And Jameson Williams gave Mick 0 points, single-handedly the reason he lost last week. I don't think that's going to happen again. I think actually Jameson Williams is going to have a pretty good game and hurt Amon-Ra's production, unfortunately. And I love the running backs, Jaylen Warren for the Steelers, and of course, Jamar Gibbs. What was that, 62 points last week? Was that 62 points? That's almost a record. I think Michael Vick is the all-time, I think he scored, in our league anyway, it's like 78 points or something. Jamar Gibbs, 62 points last week. Insane. And I don't think that's going to stop. I think they're just going to feed him the ball because Green Bay is not looking great either. He's got Turd Ferguson there at the tight end position going against the Chiefs. Again, a great target for Dak, but with a healthy CeeDee Lamb, it has made a difference. He's not putting up top-tier numbers anymore, but he's still there. And Mick rocking the double tight end formation with Brock Bowers in the flex. Brock Bowers has not been great this year.
It's been good. Not great.
Yeah, I mean, he's gotten double digits once, twice, 4 times. He's had one really good game. It was that 45-point game. But that's pretty much it.
Yeah, huge disappointment for where he was drafted at.
Oh, absolutely. I think did McBride go before Bowers or vice versa? Okay.
I wanted Bowers and Mick took him, and I was frustrated.
Yeah.
And so I got McBride instead.
Bowers went before McBride. Exactly. See, good on you. You made a good play. Now over to Barris's team. Patrick Mahomes has definitely had kind of a fantasy football resurgence. He's been really good this year compared to like the last 2.5. He's going up against Dallas, and again, their backs are against the wall. I think he's going to show up big, probably put up a 35-point game. Yeah. Jamar Chase is getting Joe Burrow back, and that is good news for Jamar Chase owners. Even though Flacco was doing fine throwing to Jamar Chase, I think he's going to have a huge game against Baltimore because they're really going to try to try to get Burrow all psyched up and get him tossing the ball. Lad McConkey, great play. Definitely better than Quentin Johnson. Barris is going with 3 Chargers players this week again. He's got McConkey, Oronde Gadsden, and Quentin Johnson. That's too many mouths, even though they throw the ball a lot.
Yeah.
One is going to eat from the other. So that's only ultimately going to hurt him. Travis Etienne against Tennessee, I like that play. Kenneth Gainwell against Buffalo. That's a fringe start for me. I don't know. That's a toss-up because Jaylen Warren is healthy, but Gainwell does pretty well out of the backfield. So, who wins this one, Mr. Dahlgren?
I hate to say because I think Mick is one of the best teams he has one of the best teams I've seen that gets eliminated this early.
Yes.
But I think he gets beaten down again. But I think it's not because his team doesn't produce. I think this is gonna be a bloodbath. I think Barris is gonna put up over 200 this week.
Whoa! Okay.
Yeah. Mahomes is gonna go off on Dallas. I think McConkey's gonna have an incredible game. I think Etienne's gonna run all over Tennessee. Gainwell is gonna be irrelevant. But yeah, I think Barris is probably going to be the highest scoring team this week.
Wow. I like it. See, the show is great when we get some hot takes. I'm actually picking Mick to pull the upset here. I like his team. I think Jamar Gibbs is going to put up
win when it doesn't matter.
I know. Exactly. I think he wins this week and he's going to win next week. He's going to beat me next week. I freaking guarantee it. Because they're good players. He's got a good team. It just hasn't. Brock Bowers has killed him, but he's got a great team. And all it takes is just a couple games where Brock Bowers finds that 10 to 15 target game, and all of a sudden he's putting up 30 to 40 points. Whew, all right, so we disagree on that one. All right, 2 left. We got Nick Shook, who was also at the top.
Have we
of the league
agreed on a single one yet?
Yes, he's on a losing streak here. He is now at 6-6. He's on the outside looking in. I mentioned at the top of the show, there are 5 teams vying for that 1-6 spot. The top 5 are pretty much, can interchange or pretty much locked in, but there are 5 teams that can grab that 6th spot in the playoffs that are still in it. Nick is still one of them at 7th. Jabel, however, he is out of it. He is playing Jabel. Jared Goff is getting the start for Nick right now. He is not starting Lamar Jackson, and at this point, I don't blame him. Lamar Jackson, not been that great. Emeka Ibuka, Teddy Two Gloves might be playing quarterback this week, and that's going to hurt. That is going to hurt Nicholas going against Arizona. But it's Baker's non-throwing arm in the shoulder, so we'll see. Jalen Waddle, the number 1 guy, again, nobody cares about Miami. He might have a good game, but maybe like a 15 to 20. Saquon Barkley, big question mark. Big disappointment this season. Now, he has performed in the last few games. He has had better kind of Saquon Barkley-esque games.
Adequate at best.
Yeah, adequate at best. For him especially. Going up against the Bears, they just lost to the Cowboys. I think he bounces back on a short week and puts up some pretty good numbers. Not 25-point numbers, but close. Like maybe like an 18 to 20-point game. Emmanuel Wilson. Oh, Nicky boy. I think he's going to switch him because Josh Jacobs is healthy. Josh Jacobs is going to play.
Yeah.
That Emmanuel Wilson play that was great, the only guy that was good last week for him, he's going to switch that out for Josh Jacobs. TJ Hawkinson, trash. No good. He's no good anymore. Darius Slayton, that's a shot in the dark, especially now that Jackson Dart's back. If Jameson Winston was playing, I'd be okay with it. But moving on to Jabel's team, man, he has a chance to spoil this game for Nick. He has a chance to bounce him. Oh, I feel so bad. Jacoby Brissett is playing quarterback. Set the NFL record for most completions in an NFL game a couple weeks ago. A.J. Brown, they're finally feeding him going up against the Bears. Brian Thomas Jr., I don't like that play, but he's going to play against Tennessee. But Christian McCaffrey, holy cow, the number 1 overall running back in all of fantasy football, is going up against the toughest defense against the rush. But Christian McCaffrey's not just a runner. He's a pass catcher too. I think he'll be fine. I like that 20, 25 range for him because I think he gets a couple touchdowns. Yep. Aaron Jones, okay play against Seattle. He is clearly taking over that lead again. Mark Andrews, the tight end, hit or miss. That's the reason I traded him away. And of course, he hit 2 weeks ago, and he missed last week. So I think he just alternates. I think Mark Andrews is going to have a good game against Cincinnati. And then in the flex, Jaden Higgins against the Colts. That actually could be a sneaky good play, as hopefully Sauce and Mooney can lock down some receivers because they clearly struggle against Kansas City. Who wins this week, Dahlgren, between Shook and Jabel? Does Jabel spoil Shook's playoff hopes?
I honestly think Shook wins if he starts Lamar.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think if he sticks with Goff, he does not, because I think the Green Bay defense, I think they'll have his number.
Okay.
And that, within the division game, Green Bay's strong D. I think Lamar is overdue to go off.
I agree with that. I just don't think he's going to do super great. In total Nick fashion, here's what my prediction. I think Jabel's going to win because Nick is not going to start Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is going to have that 45-point game on his bench, and Nick will get bounced from the playoffs because of this and just have more pain and headache for fantasy football for missing the playoffs. And this is one of his better teams. It's just like things totally out of his control. He drafted good players, and they're just.
Wouldn't it be great if he listens to us and he starts them and then he has another dud and he misses the playoff? This is win-win for us.
It really is. It truly is. I think Jabel's going to win this week. I do like Jabel to play the spoiler. All right, last game. I got the 10-minute warning already. Anurag at 6-6. Man, he needed that win last week. You squeaked one out over him, taking on Joe Murdoch, who is still alive. He's one of those 5 teams. He's in 10th place right now, and Anu is sitting at that 6th spot, that all-important last spot to get into the playoffs. He's rocking Drake May against the Giants. Great play. Puka Nacua, dynamite play. One of the best now that he's healthy. Tet McMillan didn't play so well last week, but I think he rebounds against the Rams. Derrick Henry, the colder it gets, the better he gets. And I think, and he does great on Thursday night. I remember last year he did amazing for me on a Thursday night game. I like the Derrick Henry play against Cincinnati. They're just going to run all over him. Woody Marks, kind of an okay start. I don't think he's going to have that great of a game. He's only projected to have 10 points. It's probably going to be right around there. But I love the George Kittle play. That's one of Purdy's favorite targets. I think he's going to have a pretty decent game because they're going to rely on the pass a lot. And Kenneth Walker in the flex. Great play against Minnesota. Even though Zach Charbonnet keeps ball hawking the goal line carries, he's still clearly the better running back. He just needs to get the touchdowns. Once the touchdowns come, Kenneth Walker is a top running back. And I think he has a pretty decent game. I definitely think he's going to outperform Charbonnet this week. Joe currently has Baker Mayfield starting quarterback. That could or could not happen. We will wait and see. He has till Sunday to figure it out. So that's a big question mark in the air.
It's a huge question mark.
Nico Collins against the Colts. I like it. He's going to get fed a lot. I think he's going to get 20 points. Xavier Worthy, I don't like Kansas City receivers other than Rashee Rice. Anybody else that's catching balls or running the ball that's not named Rashee Rice is such a toss-up. They got so many mouths to feed in Kansas City. Rico, still producing, even though Chuba Hubbard, because they paid him all that money, they have to play Chuba because they just paid him so much money. And Rico's been great, but he did not have a great game last week. But Devon Achane has by far been the most consistent floor guy out of all the running backs. He's going to get you 20 points every week. He might not get you 40, but he's not going to get you 10. Devon Achane has been a great play for Joe. Hunter Henry finally had a great game last week. He was really good at the beginning of the season, dropped off, but Drake May found him a lot last week. I like that play against the Giants. And Devin Neal is getting the start in the flex because Alvin Kamara is not going to play. But Taysom Hill might cut into some of those carries, but might not matter. Dahlgren, who's going to win this very important game to keep their playoff hopes alive?
This is kind of brutal because I could see this going either way.
Yeah.
If Mayfield doesn't play, there's no chance Joe survives. I don't even care who he picks up. There's just zero chance. I think Anurag takes it though. I mean, I'm not as high on Marks or Kenneth Walker. I think they're both kind of an afterthought in those offenses. But I think Derrick Henry is going to have a big game. I think that game of Cincinnati and the Ravens, you want anyone in fantasy involved in that, because I think it's going to be a 35 to 40 point apiece game.
Ooh.
So yeah, I think Underdog takes this one out, but it's close.
Okay. Every year I doubt Joe, and this has been actually the one year that I should, but I think he wins this week. There's been 3 or 4 years in a row where it looks like he is DOA, and he just comes out of nowhere and squeaks into the playoffs, and then all of a sudden he's in the championship. I think Joe, however, just like you said, as it stands right now with Baker Mayfield playing, I have Joe winning. So at this moment right now, we're picking the winners. I'm picking Joe to win. Tomorrow that could change if Baker Mayfield is going to sit for Teddy Two Gloves. So we split there. Awesome. Great rundown, Mr. Dahlgren. A great season. Do you have anything to say to the members of the league before we end this week's all-important Thanksgiving episode?
I would say, if there's one thing that I'm thankful for in the theme of Thanksgiving, it's that this league is the most competitive fantasy league that I've been in, and I have others that I continue to win in the background, and I don't give a damn, because I like playing good competitors, and this is a good league. So I'm thankful for good competition, and hopefully I can be thankful for finally winning this year, though I don't think this is the team. I just want to make the playoffs.
Playoffs. Thank you, sir. I love it. That's why I do this stupid little show, just to make it different. It is all a labor of love for all the people in this league. A random bunch of guys together just playing fantasy football. Thank you, Dahlgren, for taking time. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving out there in North Carolina, and everybody watching, have a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving holiday. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Your dog had an accident.
What the hell? What kind of accident?
Well, I took this here axe and I accidentally cut him. Get it? Accident.
Doing, buddy? You mowing the lawn?